Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com. The Berkshire Eagle newspaper in Massachusetts reports that the weather's been very cold this month. But they also say in the same article, never mind the cold weather. According to the Washington Post, the Earth is burning up. According to the Washington Post, Earth has warmed 2 degrees and the past 7 years have been the hottest in world history. Last year, North America was at the epicenter of some of recorded history's most intense weather and climate extremes, from tremendous heat to brutal cold, and from exceptional drought to catastrophic inundation. As is now common knowledge, the most intense warm-up is in the Arctic, 3 to 4 times faster than the worldwide average, accelerating ice melt and sea level rise. Greenland is ground zero, where unprecedented summer warmth caused rainfall for the first time in recent recorded history on the ice sheet summit of the world's largest island. This all sounds very scary, except for the fact that it isn't true. Rain fell near the center of the Greenland ice sheet in 1933 and in 1950 twice. So the claim of unprecedented summer warmth and rain in Greenland was based on misinformation. The article also claimed accelerating Arctic ice melt. This claim is also incorrect. Arctic sea ice extent at the end of 2021 was the highest in 18 years. And there's been no trend in Arctic sea ice extent over the last 15 years. The other claim from the article was, last year North America was at the epicenter of some of recorded history's most intense weather and climate extremes, from tremendous heat to brutal cold, and exceptional drought to catastrophic inundation. This claim is equally as absurd. Compared to years like 1936, last year was actually extremely mild. There were a few days of very cold weather during February, and the Pacific Northwest had a few days of extreme heat in June and July. This topic would require several videos of its own, but I'd like to touch on a couple of key points. At the time of the cold weather in February, climate alarmists were claiming the exact opposite. They were saying that cold weather isn't as cold as it used to be because of global warming. But now they've reversed their story and are trying to claim that the cold in February was some of recorded history's most intense weather. They're engaged in classic Orwellian doublespeak. February 1936 actually was the coldest February on record. Saskatoon had 56 days in a row when the thermometer never got above minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Bemidji, Minnesota had more than 29 consecutive days of sub-zero temperatures. And at the same time, they were having floods, fires, and tornadoes in California. February 1936 was the coldest on record in the United States, and July of that same year was the hottest. The hottest Julys in the United States occurred in 1936, 1901, 1934, 1930, and 1931. Last year was actually below average. Besides the record heat and record cold of 1936, the year was also famous for floods, fires, tornadoes, dust storms, and drought. But like I said, that will be the topic of a different video. What I really want to focus on is the official U.S. government temperature record, which forms the basis of most climate alarmism. This map of June global temperatures was published by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. All the red on this map makes it appear like the world is burning up. This looks really bad, but the problem is the map is not credible, as I'm about to show you. First, let's look at Antarctica, where they claim they don't have any information available. This map is prominently featured on the NOAA website, but another map which they're not showing is this one showing land-only temperatures. The land-only map shows that they had a number of very cold stations in Antarctica during June 2021. And in fact, Antarctica was in the middle of their coldest 6 months on record. You can see the Antarctic cold during June 2021 in this lower troposphere map from satellites. In this map, Antarctica should be deep blue, but instead NOAA is telling the public that they don't have any data. NOAA is hiding critical information from the public. Now let's look at their claims of record heat in this part of Africa. If we compare this with the land-only map, we can see that they don't actually have any temperature data from June 2021. They simply made up record heat in Africa, which didn't exist, and in many other parts of the world as well. If we look at the satellite data for Africa during June 2021, we can see there was no anomalously warm weather. And yet, according to NOAA, Africa was burning up. This map is completely fake. U.S. government temperature graphs are equally as fake. This is what the NASA U.S. temperature graph looked like in 1999. It showed a strong cooling trend from the 1930s through the end of the 20th century. They showed 1934 as being the warmest year and 1998 being more than half a degree Celsius cooler. But over the next 20 years, NASA altered their historical data to turn a cooling trend into a warming trend. After they tampered with the data, 1998 was warmer than 1934. Not only is the land data fake, but the ocean data is fake as well. In this ClimateGate email, Phil Jones, who's in charge of one of the major government data sets, said, "For much of the southern hemisphere between 40 and 60 south, the normals are mostly made up as there's very little ship data there." They're making up fake ocean data. They're also making up fake land data. All of these claims being made are a complete farce. They're not based on science, they're based on misinformation. And if we remember the point of the original article, it was to convince people that the extreme cold they were feeling was actually extreme heat. In his novel 1984, George Orwell said, "The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command." That was the point of the article in the Berkshire newspaper, to convince cold people that they were actually hot. Toto has been pulling back the curtain on our Orwellian world for the past 14 years. You can visit him, Kyrie, and Caesar on the web at realclimatescience.com.